What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Sonic Movie Show, the only show that's about Sonic news, and Sonic movie news, and video game movie reviews. My name is Ethan, and with me here to do things from the movie is Devin.
Your papa needs a break.
That's right, he says that. Hanzo from Overwatch says that.
Is it him? It sounds like him.
And
his name's Hanzo.
That's what I'm saying. The name is Hanzo.
Oh, the name's Hanzo.
Yeah.
I was like, is it him? Because that's great. The other option I had was Faster Papa Faster, but I thought that was a little too much.
It's okay. It's okay. We watched, for y'all's entertainment today, the 2020 animated direct-to-video streaming, movie, Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge, also known colloquially as Mortal Kombat Flight of the Scorpions by me sometimes in my head.
Like unironically.
Yeah, unironically. Yeah, this was a first of, I think, now 3 Warner Brothers animated Mortal Kombat movies. And yeah, we're going to talk about it today. First off, as we always do, let's talk about our history with the property before we review the movie. I'll start because I have, I think, less to say. I have only really played this game a little bit. Mortal Kombat 11. I have played a bit of Mortal Kombat Trilogy on Nintendo 64. The only Nintendo 64 game to have no 3D elements in it at all. Very, very weird. Or is it on PlayStation 2? I mean, there was lots of 2D games. But yeah, I haven't played much. I've seen some of the really shitty, like, PS2 era Mortal Kombat. Like, some of them were, like, Arena Fighters and, like, the bad era of Mortal Kombat stuff. And I know that Mortal Kombat 9, aka Mortal Kombat, released in 2010, maybe
2010 or 11,
something around there. Is it came back with that, but that's really it. I doubt you have probably less to say too, to be honest. So.
No, I mean, like I feel like we've kind of shared our Mortal Kombat experience because we've reviewed the Mortal Kombat 1995 film, one of our favorites. Then what is it, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which is one of our least favorites video game movies. And then there was the movie that came out, I think it was also in 2020, right?
2021.
Or was it 2021?
Yeah.
That came to HBO Max as like a streaming movie. I think that wasn't technically theaters, but I don't know if anyone really saw it. But that was one of our, I wouldn't say it's as, we liked it for what it was, but it's not it doesn't have the cheesy charm that the 1995 film has.
Yep.
So I guess this is like our 4th movie installment, I guess, in terms of us watching. Because I know there's been some like knockoff Mortal Kombat things done in the past, video-wise. But yeah, I've played, I platinumed Mortal Kombat 11, which was a grind. I did have a lot of fun with that game. I still never got the DLC for it. I've been meaning to get it, and then just it's been like so long. At this point, might as well wait for Mortal Kombat 12, which sounds like it's coming out this year. That was the leak.
And it wasn't a leak. That's been rumored forever, but like they had their shareholders meeting, and the dude just said it. And Mortal Kombat 12 is coming out.
I didn't see the full context. I thought it was
like no logo or anything, which makes me think it was a slip up. Instead of saying a project that's gonna make us a lot of money comes out this year, like a lot of these companies do,
or even just like NetherRealm project, right?
I feel like that's obvious. Well, then what their game is gonna be. But yeah, they slipped. That dude slipped. Ed Boon's probably really pissed.
So we'll see if it's coming out. I'll still wait to see if that trailer comes out. I'm personally like, hey, it's fine. Like if you wait another year, because I'm not in like a rush to jump back in Mortal Kombat too much. But I've always liked the franchise from just when I was younger. I played a lot of it when I was a kid on our PlayStation 1. I had like I think it was the 4-pack of all the games as a kid or whatever it was. And like I'd played it with my dad. And I always thought like the fatalities were cool, and I just loved the character names. And but yeah, then like when I got older, like I dabbled with some of the games. Maybe I got a used game here and there. I had Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe on PS3 back in the day, and I played probably like 20 or so hours on it. I've always appreciated it. I would say it's probably my favorite fighting game just because of my experiences with it. But I'm not gonna debate someone of why Mortal Kombat is the best fighting game of all time. It's like, you like what you like, cool. I like this. Um, Sub-Zero has always been kind of my main, but like in Mortal Kombat 11, I've dabbled with a couple different characters, so it's been fun to kind of like I guess Mortal Kombat in terms of more recently has like been the one fighting game that at least I've like learned to have a general concept of how you're supposed to play the game, and whatnot. And yeah, I mean, it's one of the more iconic. Even like I think people who don't play too many games know what Mortal Kombat at least
Right.
is.
That's the
Shit
reason
was
we
in
have a
the-
ratings board in America.
And spoilers for The Last of Us TV show. There's one episode where they briefly show, oh my god, a Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat 2. Yep.
Mortal Kombat 2 at an arcade. Not
Yeah.
a big spoiler, but whatever.
But yeah, in the game, it's a made up fighting game, but it's
Yeah.
very clearly supposed to be Mortal Kombat. So obviously, like, it's cool that they had, the actual thing in there,
Yeah. So yeah, I think Mortal Kombat is just one of those franchises that you either like it or you don't like it, and you know it or you don't know it. It's pretty standard. But when I think of it, I do think of like 90s. I think of my, even though like I was obviously, it was like 2000s when I actually played it. But like when I think of Mortal Kombat, like the classics, I really love just like the artwork of the original games and whatnot, the art style and of the what's the term again where it's the like it's them on photos basically.
Oh Jesus,
forgetting the name for it, but that animation
digitized, I think, is honestly the term for the
okay,
taking
it's like
the
stop
photos.
motion almost to
Yeah.
a degree. But I've always liked that in a way. Sometimes I wish they would do that again instead of having this like
They could do a throwback.
have a throwback. But I'm saying like get in new actors and like just basically do the same process again. And actually I have thoughts based off this movie about in terms of like art style and whatnot that maybe they could. All I'll say is I think they could do what they did in this into a game, and that might be cool.
Yeah.
I'll get into that when we talk about it.
Okay.
More,
Okay.
in terms of like the art style and stuff.
All right. Well, that was our review on Mortal Kombat Legend. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. So
the Mortal Kombat franchise.
yeah. Now, I've always witnessed Mortal Kombat from afar. It is.
You're the guy in the corner of the arcade, just staring staring at the people playing. You're like, wow.
Yeah. No, I mean, I haven't really played much. I played a lot of other different fighting games, a lot of Japanese ones. Never really went into Mortal Kombat too much. But yeah, have no ill will against it. It is one of the highest selling fighting franchises behind Smash Brothers. It is the highest behind Smash Brothers. And a lot of that comes down to just how good it looks. Like a lot of money goes into that production that Warner Brothers is able to spend. You know what I mean? So yeah, but okay, well, let's begin talking about Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge. I had to look at the title. I had to.
It is a long title and also a little bit misleading, I think, to a degree.
Do we want to get into it just overall? Obviously, we're doing spoilers on all of these, but I mean, I'll start.
Yeah.
I did not like the fact that this movie really just felt like that original Mortal Kombat movie again, on the premise of it's the tournament, they lost 9 times in a row, here are the 3 people. I don't know if that's like story from the original game, and they're like, of course.
It is. I was gonna say it is.
I mean, that makes
original
sense.
Game,
but like, also like again, not to really to harp, but like I really find the whole like premise of the tournament and all that stuff kind of dumb in a way that's like, oh, okay, 9, they lost 9. If you win 10, then the realms merge. Or it just seemed kind of dumb. I would have honestly preferred it's just a different story than the premise of why there's a tournament. I think for the sake of a video game, that works, especially for a fighting tournament, obviously. But I think you can tell much more interesting stories than we got to just participate in the tournament and our 3 fucks who are not really likable, especially the one played by Joel McHale, Johnny Cage.
You don't like Johnny Cage, dude?
I feel like he would have been a lot better if the actor playing him didn't phone it in like Joel McHale did. Oh my god, he phoned it the fuck in. That character could have been a lot more interesting or funny.
No.
Sorry, I disagree hardcore. If you even like him,
just based off like like I said, playing the other games, I feel like he's pretty. I'm not saying he's like amazing Johnny Cage, but like he does a good job of playing the douchebag kind of characters, and I feel like he did that with Johnny Cage, because he's supposed to be a jackass actor who doesn't take anything seriously or is full of himself. I still think my favorite is the in Mortal Kombat 11. He is such an asshole, like, and he has all the quips and stuff. So if you're really like good at Johnny Cage, it feels very satisfying to beat someone's ass, and then all his like fatalities are just mocking, like, just, you're bad, you suck, like, just
I have
like,
nothing against the character. I think the idea of the character is very good. All I'm saying is I don't think the performance was done well at all. I feel like they could have gotten someone else. Someone that was probably cheaper. Maybe Joel McHale needed a lot of money but didn't really care. Maybe like Johnny Cage, a little washed up and in need of some cash. But no, it was just very weird to me that like this movie's titled Scorpion's Revenge, and I'm going to go under the assumption that all of these animated movies are going to be canon with each other, like a connected story. And therefore, if they're going to do that, they need to have that first tournament, from the original games, be the start so that they can move on.
I'm trying to remember,
but
and maybe someone who's more of a lore fan than me. Like I said, I'm not like a lore expert by any means, but I thought Johnny Cage does win the first tournament, like in the original game or something like that. Is because I remember in Mortal Kombat 11, there's like one part of the game that you can do for like getting like skins and stuff, but there's like little challenges you can do, and they had like all the statues of all the winners, and like I could have sworn Johnny Cage was one of the first ones, maybe not the first, but he was.
Interesting.
And that's what I thought was going to happen. I thought it'd be really like the guy who's not taking it seriously throughout somehow wins the whole thing, and he thinks it's still a movie. Like, I think that would have been funny. So I think Liu Kang's cool, but he just, I don't know.
He's he's just still water in this movie. He's boring. I feel like I don't even know him. By the end of the movie, I still don't even know him. Because they do a little bit of... The movie does a little bit of quick backstory on Johnny, Sonya, but Liu Kang, the most you get is that Raiden just surprise fights him, you know what I mean, to just keep him on his toes or whatever. Like, I don't... Unless I zone the fuck out because I have an ear infection and a movie hurt. Every time I see
You're
the
on drugs
X-ray...
as well, so,
every time I see the X-ray bone shattering thing, I'm like, that's what's happening in my ear right now, man. So every time Scorpion shot the thing through people's heads, I'm like, me next, please.
Just clean it out,
please. I need it gone. So maybe I blacked out, but like I don't remember any backstory on Liu Kang.
No, there really wasn't too much. I think here's my thoughts on like just general like what the purpose of this movie is. I think this is just, I mean, because you had the 2021 movie. I think this was like, hey, Mortal Kombat 11 was really popular. I think it's one of the best-selling Mortal Kombat games.
I think so.
In 2019, let's make a like, a short film. Let's make not a short film, but a shortish film, direct-to-video. We can have just some voice actors in it, and we can kind of retell like where the lore comes from. 'Cause that's what a lot of Mortal Kombat 11 is. It's about like the originals versus the new, and like where is it heading. So I think that has part of it to do with it. So I think it's just a way of telling people maybe who are like, hey, Mortal Kombat 11 was my first Mortal Kombat. I want to know what this is about.
Here's a thing.
I think this movie is made for Mortal Kombat fans though. So I feel like it's kind of like I think it based off the title.
But do fans want to see the same freaking story told again?
I don't know. I'm just saying is that I feel like it's a mix of like, hey, we need to like retell the first story for the new fans, but let's also make something that is for the OG fans. And I feel like a lot of it is relying on some knowledge of the characters like Liu Kang. Like maybe they didn't want to spend time on him because...
And Raiden. I mean, if I didn't know, I'd be like, who the fuck? Raiden.
Come on.
I'd feel like, who the fuck is this guy? Like,
yeah, I actually felt like they described, at least like for me, like I've always had trouble like remembering what the fuck is Outworld versus Netherrealm and all that shit. I feel like they actually did a decent job at least like doing that part of it, because like when we've watched the movies, I feel like they didn't spend enough time on like establishing.
They just want to
like,
tell you the bad people
exists.
come from the bad hell world, and we don't want that.
I actually liked that they showed like more of Netherrealm and like and whatnot. But like I said, I think it just goes back to like what your prior knowledge is, and I just feel like they just made this movie because they wanted to capitalize off of Mortal Kombat 11's success and give something for both new and old fans. And maybe they should have just committed to one or the other. I think it would have probably sold fine. I know this movie got decent reviews though. When
Interesting.
it first came out, like I heard good things about it. That's why I picked it so high, was because I knew that I had a decent shot. Oh, by the way, for people who this is their first episode of me listening, we did like a video game movie draft a couple
Yeah.
episodes ago. You can go listen to it and see our full list. I think we'll show it later as well. And yeah, this was like my fourth pick. This is our fourth movie review, and we have
So it's your second
12
pick.
in total. So we have a long way to go. It's still a lot of
Yeah.
fantasy movie football to go. But yeah, it's one of the reasons I picked it, is because like, one, I know I like it at least, and I'll have fun with it. But I heard like decent things. And just overall, I feel like I'm at least satisfied with it. There's some things I maybe would have changed, but I really like that they, did the X-ray from the game, like the last two games, and it wasn't like I think with the games is like, I love the games, but I also hear people's critique that it's like too much, like it's too much blood and gore. And this goes to my one thing I wanted to mention earlier, which is, after watching this movie, I kind of want a Mortal Kombat game that's in like kind of this art style, and that way you can do some of the more fantasy brutalities. Because yeah, it's kind of goofy in Mortal Kombat 11, where like you break their kneecap, but they're still walking around like fine. Like in this, it felt like when someone's leg gets broken, they're like immobilized.
Right.
Granted, I know you wouldn't do that in a fighting game, because it just isn't fun that way to be like, okay, now your leg's broken. But I did actually like the art style more of like when their skull breaks. Like I love like there's almost like a different color palette they use, like more bright colors, and I'm like, that's cool. Like I like that. I think my biggest things I like about this movie is the art style when it came to like the actual fighting and the gore and whatnot. Like it's cartoony enough where it's like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, this is gross, or like, like I get my like sensitivities are different than others, so like I can get why some people might not ever get into Mortal Kombat, because they try to make it so real when it should be, I think, the other way around. Make it like the original Mortal Kombat was goofy. You know what I mean? The fatalities are goofy. Like, yeah, if you punch a guy, their head doesn't just pop off, but like they're so strong, it's goofy. I like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like for me, like I think I really like this movie just because I feel like it is all the campiness of Mortal Kombat and all the cheese, and it kind of embraces that. And I think I can see why you wouldn't like it. And if you do like that stuff, yeah, I think you will like this. I think that's what makes this movie kind of a interesting thing to review, because I think it goes back to you either like Mortal Kombat, or you kind of like indifferent on it, or you just don't like it at all for some other reasons. But yeah, I feel like this for me was like very like just close to what I think of Mortal Kombat as a franchise. Like Mortal Kombat 11 has its campiness and goofiness, but it still takes stuff a little bit seriously. And it's hard for me to be like, I don't like, the lore is cheesy. Like I wish they would do it more of that. But when I think of the original games and like the 95 movie, like that is straight cheese, but it's good cheese,
Very, very campy indeed. Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, the animation is nothing I have to complain about. I liked it. I feel like it's hard for adult Western animation to look consistent and good. I've just like, when it comes to like, I guess, people fighting and whatnot, usually you just see a lot of anime, you know what I mean, instead of Western animation. And that's what this is, and I think it looked really good. I have no real complaints about that. I feel like the choreography on the fights were sometimes a little hard to follow just because it was fast, but like I don't think I would have wanted it slower, so I'm okay with just just happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it was all good. There's a lot of perspective shifting stuff that I thought was neat. Some of my issues are just with the story and the structure of the movie, but yeah, I don't really have any complaints with how it was animated or anything like that. We didn't really talk much about Scorpion, the title character of this
I know,
movie.
when this is like, I'm saying I feel like it's misleading, because I thought it was going to be, when it first
All about
started, I'm
him.
like, oh, yeah, that was going to be like a solo, like basically I thought this was going to be like X-Men Origins. Like, you remember like when they had like, we're going to just focus on Wolverine.
They were going to do a bunch of those movies.
Yeah. I remember like just the original idea, like I'm like, cool, we're going to get Scorpion. Maybe one day we'll get a Johnny Cage movie, and like that'd be kind of cool. Like even if they're like maybe not always an hour and 20 minutes. So I'm like, hey, at least this first one is an hour and 20 minutes. That makes sense. Scorpion is arguably one of the faces of Mortal Kombat, which
He's
is always
literally
funny
on the
to
box of 11.
Yeah, and him and Sub-Zero are on
10.
X and 10, or X and 9. So they've always been on, which is funny considering Liu Kang is supposed to be like the main hero. But like, no, the two ninja guys are always on the cover.
They're far more iconic.
But yeah, I thought this was going to be an X-Men Origins kind of thing where it's just going to be about Scorpion. I'm like, cool, because I always thought the Scorpion kind of like where he, like why he is what he is because like, oh, it's the Sub-Zero clan, which I always forget the name. I always get them confused. I have it written down
here. Yeah, I forgot it too. Lin
Kuei. And he's from the Shiryu, or however you pronounce it. And I always thought that was cool. And they talk about it more in all the games. Like there's always that like B plot with like Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Sometimes they work together. Sometimes they're enemies. Then you have, the noob Cybots and the whatnot. Yeah.
This is a dumb thing because canon in video games is not something that like is whatever. Anyone actually die in Mortal Kombat? Like just like,
yeah, I mean, like
in like the story
dead.
And like then they're gone.
Goro's dead. Like the Sub-Zero that you play in Mortal Kombat 11 isn't the original. That's Noob Saibot, obviously. But yeah, like people have, like Shao Kahn, I think dies, in Mortal Kombat 11. Like he gets killed halfway through, and he just you can play as him, but like
right, yeah, obviously for the sake of gameplay, they keep them back because you don't want to have them gone.
But there was a lot of time travel and like dimension stuff in Mortal Kombat 11 to the point where I'm like, oh, they're using this so they can always just like reset if they want after this game. They can just be like multiverse shit again, like everyone's doing.
Dangerous with this multiverse stuff.
But yeah, like Reptile I know is dead. I like I said, I haven't played all the games and their stories.
Smoke?
I don't know.
Is there a guy named Smoke?
Yeah, I think he's either dead or just there's Smoke. There's what's the one? There's one guy who's like a kind of Smoke's one of the cyber ninjas. There's another one. I forget the name of him.
There's a red ninja. There's a rainbow ninja.
But they also bring people back though, and they always, there's enough goofy canon or goofy rules to the universe to be like, yeah, they're back from another realm.
Right. Yeah.
So
I wish this movie honestly was just all about Scorpion instead of. It starts off being about him, obviously, but then he becomes a side character. Through the rest of the movie, he's the side character
until like
which is
maybe
weird.
The end, and then it's like he gets his revenge, and then that's it.
It's just weird, and like the I forget his name, but the guy who does the deal with Scorpion, the quick reveal that it was me that did it, Quan Chi. But I'm like they don't really say why. Was he trying to rile him up? Was this all part of his plan to get him?
Well, I think he wanted him to enter the tournament. Basically, he knew he was a because like they go back, they do like a flashback where he like Quan Chi can like he changed into Sub-Zero and basically did this whole thing. I think it's just using him so he can be entered into the tournament because every realm gets their one weird dude. Of course, Earthrealm gets the ability to have 3 people. I'm like, that's cheating. Why does everyone else not get 3?
Maybe it's the losers handicap.
Yeah, the losers get like they get a couple extra. Yeah, so but I did want to point out, like, I really love the introduction of this, where it's like it's pretty brutal. They're like, nope, his kid's dead, and then he dies.
Yeah. Well,
and then the title screen comes on.
The kid dying is the only like thing that happens off screen. Yes, he's on screen, but him being stabbed and all that is out of frame. You know what I mean?
Well, he like breaks his neck and stuff. They're still like showing blood coming out of his mouth and stuff. So I still thought it was like pretty brutal, considering like, hey, kids could be watching this.
They should. I watched Daffy Duck get murdered in that intro. You know what I mean? It ain't for no
that
kids.
Should have been enough to tell the parents to turn it off. No, I actually really liked that intro, and like, because I always knew like that's kind of like the original Sub-Zero Scorpion beef was that Sub-Zero killed his son or killed Scorpion, and he's getting revenge. So like I said, maybe there's people out there who are listening to this who are much more Mortal Kombat lore experts. Feel free to like write in the comments and whatever thing you're listening to this on, preferably YouTube. Feel free to be like, oh, this is actually really close to this, or this is maybe an homage to that, because I think it is the original story though, from what my knowledge is. Maybe not too so specific, but yeah, there's the three heroes. I think Jax does lose his arm to Goro. I'm glad Goro's in this. He's one of my favorites.
Okay.
I always like big beefy dudes with forearms. How do you not like that? But Jax is in it. I like him. I actually really like Sonya Blade, but maybe this is me because I didn't like her at all in Mortal Kombat 11. Yeah, they didn't do her bad like they did in Mortal Kombat 11.
And the movies.
Like I loved her design. I liked her like kind of big hair they gave her.
I felt like I had no motivation for her though. Like, okay, yeah, you want to not be seen as a little girl. I was watching this on
International Women's Day, so I had to really cheer for her.
I watched it too, same day. We watched the same day. All right.
But no, I just liked how they kind of like she kept going with like the whole like fight like a man thing. Like I know it was a little much, but I liked the campiness of that. Like that's her whole fucking shtick is that like she's trying to prove all the boys wrong. But yeah, and then I mean Sub-Zero is still probably my favorite character
in this movie, voiced by Steve Blum, greatest anime voice actor. Although he doesn't talk much.
What other stuff has he done?
Well, he is the Toonami guy voice.
Oh,
number one. But guy. Yeah, I don't know, just a shit ton of stuff. Dragon. I don't know if he was in Dragon Ball, but Cowboy Bebop. He's the main character, Spike. But he's just been in so much stuff. Yeah, and Toonami's still around. Like as like
are they?
Yes. Still on Cartoon Network before Adult Swim and after Cartoon Network. Normal is still on there. And how I knew about this is in 2020. When George Floyd was murdered and all that stuff was going on, there was one of those like commercial bumper things where Steve Blum as the Toonami guy voice is talking like Black Lives Matter stuff. You know what I mean? And like the classic where they're using montages of clips of the animes that they have the rights to show, talk about we're all in this together and Black Lives Matter and etc. I'll go anime stuff. That's how I'm like, oh, his shit's still around. And seeing on Twitter, be like, he's still around. You know what I mean? People being like that, but
he's still doing his job.
Sub-Zero didn't do much, and I feel like he got the short end of the stick. Like he didn't kill the son or the wife.
I know, and then he died,
yeah.
But he'll come back because they're setting up for I think a noob Cybot where like he's gonna get revenge for what Scorpion thought was revenge. I'd be salty too. I'd try to. This does both Sub-Zero. I'm assuming in the future, but at least Scorpion has the moment. This is towards the end of the movie where they get spiked or whatever, which is impaled. One of the old maps that you can like brutality you can do is chuck them off the side and they get impaled and die. And I know we've talked about it before, but like that's one of my favorite fantasy tropes, which is the I'm too angry to die. Like I just love that. I just love that's a thing in some like a lot of fantasy, like or my destiny,
my willpower
refuses to let me die here. And it's always like the craziest shit that they survive. He got impaled through the stomach and he's like, nah, I'm back.
Well, he also can't die, right? Scorpion can't die, right?
Well, I think only in Netherrealm. I think he can die.
Oh.
In there, or at least get. Like, I think if he gets his head cut off, like, he's done, I'm assuming.
Only way to kill Wolverine. I like the trope of, I kill myself to kill you.
That's also cool. Yeah, just like, I'm so blinded and rage that I'm here to destroy you. Like, that is cool. So, yeah, there's those two things there. I'm satisfied with that, at least. But I do wish there was more Sub-Zero versus Scorpion fights.
Yeah.
Especially considering, like I said, the Scorpion's in the title. Like I said, if they called this movie this movie like just Mortal Kombat Origins or something like that, I think going in we'd have a different like impression. Like I said, I still like it, but I can see why maybe you're like, I feel like I've seen this story before. Was one, the title is misleading. I think doesn't help from the get-go. That's like, and it starts with like the cool intro there.
Yeah.
But even the Mortal Kombat 2021 movie has the similar start where Scorpion is
now question.
That
in this movie, the Scorpion and Sub-Zero stuff, is that supposed to be in the past, like the 2021 movie, or is it supposed to be? So Sub-Zero.
2021, I'm pretty sure I thought was in the. I think for the Mortal Kombat movie they made that in the past, but
is that not supposed to be in the past normally? Was my question. because obviously
I think it's
Scorpion,
another realm. Yeah.
Scorpion being, undead, like, okay, but like Sub-Zero is a dude. How did he live that long? So my assumption is that was modern day, but they're just ninjas in Ninja
Yeah,
Land.
I don't know. It's just magic and shit too.
Yeah.
But I think I don't remember. Well, I'll have to. At one point, I'm probably gonna watch 2021 again. 'Cause I don't remember. But yeah, I think either it's in the past or it's on another realm, so it doesn't fucking matter.
Interesting.
Well, like I said, like I don't care too much about I just know the general stuff, and as long
You're
as
a
they
fake
look
fan.
cool and they fight
You're a
cool,
fair weather fan, No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know, not much that I can really pick apart. I feel like the premise is stuff that we've just seen before, and therefore I find what the movie's doing for the most part kind of boring, just because we've seen it before. The Scorpion stuff isn't utilized as much as I feel like it should have been, but the action was good, was fun to watch.
The movie's short too.
Yeah,
like that's the thing is like there were some moments I feel like dragged a little bit, but like at least it kept moving and just like got to the next stage. It got to the next section it needed to get.
Yeah,
and there was a lot of little stuff in there that a
lot of setup. Liu Kang fights. I forget her name. Is it Katana? I don't know.
Yeah.
Fight. Yeah, that's what I think it is. And like she's just gone after that because it's set up, I'm sure, for the Shao Kahn stuff because she's connected, right, to Shao Kahn.
She's like the daughter, either biologically or kind of like Thanos was to
Gamora.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Gamora.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like a lot of it's set up again. Like I don't know. Like you mentioned, your enjoyment comes on your predicated knowledge on just how the series is. Because Lord Raiden, I don't know who he is. Like what?
He's an elder god.
Is he? Like
six.
I didn't know if he was an elder god.
They explained it briefly in this.
I didn't know if he was one or if he was like a level below them, if that makes sense. That was my impression through this movie because
because the ones they showed, they should have shown Raiden, I think, in the part where they were describing it, but they didn't. But yeah, he is the elder god for Earthrealm specifically. Like that's his turf. There is other realms, I guess, but they just usually focus on Outworld, Netherrealm, and Earthrealm. But that's one of the villains in Mortal Kombat 11 is one of the other elder gods.
Interesting.
She's the elder god of like time or something like that. So that's why there's like the going back in time and stuff in Mortal Kombat 11 because they go back to like the original tournament. They go back to the original tournament. Yeah, she's an elder god too.
That's what I thought I remembered. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
That's why I won all the time,
Yeah.
Plant's
too good.
Yeah, Plant Lady. Yeah, so like a lot of this felt like, obviously, like you said, fans is for the fans, and like there's nothing wrong with that. I do not think that everything has to be able to cater to everyone. You can. I don't think it's a negative to have this movie require you to know Mortal Kombat stuff, or even just it's helped by knowing it. I don't think it necessarily could ever be perfect because of some of that stuff, but like I don't really feel like it's that big of a negative for me. Like it's a little whatever. Like okay, so I don't really know Lord Raiden all that well, or Lord Raymond, Lord Jeremy, etc.
I mean, I feel like this is kind of the opposite for me when we've watched like some of the Tekken movies and like more of the back knowledge. I'm like, I don't know who the fuck these characters are and what their motives are. So I feel like it's just kind of the opposite. Like I know a little bit more about Mortal Kombat than you do. So like I feel like for me that can affect my enjoyment, and that's a tough part about when we're reviewing all these movies. And there's some we have on our list that both of us have not heard of.
Right.
Or like
yeah, I mean, if we really, really want to be doing our diligence, we'd have to play through the games before watching the movies.
A couple of
all of them. Do them all.
All of them.
Know the lore. And then just watching me be like, all right, it's just fine.
Like the Persona 3 movie, like that could have been just not related to a video game for all I've known. When I was watching it.
Well, because the sequel, number 2, is on the list coming up. In the middle of our journey here. That's going to be uncharted territory for me because the first Persona 3 movie is what I played. And I didn't play farther than that. So, like, it'll feel like, they could be making shit up. So, yeah, no, I mean, like, that's just the way it is. That's why, like, I detach a bit of myself. I'm like, okay, I don't know the game that well. So like I can't really be like, you must cater to me, and ignorant, like, because we could. But to be fair as well, a lot of the older video game movies would just assumed you didn't know because there was
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
this shame on actually being based off the video game fully.
Like Doom.
So
or like
Resident Evil,
Resident Evil. But yeah,
Blood
remember
Rain.
the first Resident Evil was like the closest to the actual game.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just
yeah.
quickly was like,
Exactly.
nah.
Because honestly, it felt like they were ashamed of it being based off a video game and how dumb the video
Or they
game
just
could
wanted to
be.
use it for the label, and then that's it.
Get some money off of the easy buck of I like Resident Evil, I will buy Resident Evil on DVD or VHS. So I can't knock too much off of that, but I do walk away with just assuming that a lot of this stuff is just set up for a sequel. And this is
definitely seems that
like
way.
the third time they've done the first tournament idea again. Well, okay, if this is 2020 and the 2021 movie, okay, third for us, but maybe second if you were watching them when they came out. I'm like, okay, I would have liked to not see, the same three people, in the same predicament, especially when the movie's titled Scorpion's Revenge, and he feels like he is the prologue.
Like I said, misleading title.
Yeah.
If they just called it Mortal Kombat Origins, I think this would be not a totally different conversation, but there'd be different perspective.
Honestly, yeah, if it was just titled Mortal Kombat Legends Origins or whatever, because Legends is in all of these animated movies titles, so that's their canon.
Yeah, Legends seems like, I guess I could see that how being like an origin story, but yeah, like once again, don't call it Scorpion's Revenge if it's going to be the other characters.
If it was titled what you think it would be a good title for it, then if I watched this movie, I'd be like, okay, there are two main story things: the Earthrealm Mortal Kombat stuff and Scorpion and Sub-Zero moving forward in all of these animated movies. I would think those are the two main things, but it being titled Scorpion's Revenge and knowing that there's more, I'm like, okay, is this all we really will be getting of his story? I'm sure he'll be in there to fight because he's, he's probably the most popular MK character in terms of just generalness, maybe not the player data, but but so like now I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's not going to be as big a deal. You know what I mean? I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I do not dislike this movie. I don't think it's fantastic, but I am not upset at anything really about it. I'm just a little let down.
And what's one of those things, once again, that we're like, it's an hour and 20 minutes. So
yeah, I mean, I'm glad.
If you don't like it, it's over and done with pretty quick. We've had to sit through some movies that are close to 2 hours, and I'm sick of it by the 45-minute mark. And I'm like, oh my God, I still have another 45 minutes to an hour left. But I will say, I feel like, just in general, I feel like this is, at least for me, like, up there. I mean, we've watched a lot of stinkers. We've watched some and if you listen to our one movie draft episode in the beginning, we ranked all the other ones in a 5-point system.
They'll be able to see it in a little bit here.
Okay.
I'll show it because I use it as an example of what our rankings mean. No, there's definitely been ones like Monster Hunter. I had a coworker the other month say it was on TV and he saw the ending of it. I'm like, you missed most of a bad movie, and you probably had all the exciting stuff.
You could say you watched it though.
Yeah, I mean,
that still counts. If you've seen the ending of something, you've either read it or you've watched it.
Absolutely. Uh-oh. I think we're being Comcasted. Okay, we're back.
I'm back.
Okay, you know what? It's because I'm using a VPN right now, and I think I always keep it off when we record. I think that's on me.
Oh.
But yeah. So there'll be a brief moment, unless I choose to cut it, where our audio will be overlapping because you'll have your local audio that you send me.
Yeah.
That's a sneak peek on how it gets edited. I take his audio and replace, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My Discord version of him. So there'll be moments where we're talking over each other. I think it's funny. But just, I think this is fun because for our movie draft stuff, and again, we'll look into it in a second here, but for our movie draft stuff, everything we've done so far besides, this is our fourth one. We watched Tomb Raider, we watched Resident Evil Degeneration, then Tekken Blood Vengeance, and now Mortal Kombat Legends Flight of the Scorpions. That's how I like to call it. I don't remember if we ranked the Tomb Raider movies in general, or ranked the Resident Evils just in general with these that we've added in. But here is my question. This is our fourth Mortal Kombat thing we've watched for this program. That's right. Where does it sit for you?
Like, just in terms of all the other franchises we've seen?
1995, 1997, 2021, and this.
I mean, you have three, like, I think one of them is like a banger just because it's funny. Like the 95 one is like, I would say, a cult classic.
Very goofy in a good way.
Yeah. Fun to watch with your friends while high levels of entertainment. And then 2021, I think it's just a solid like start to like a potential movie franchise, a reboot that takes itself a little bit more seriously. And seems much more to trying to like grab what the characters are about into it. And this was like, I think for me, it's solid. And I had fun with it. I didn't, like I said, there's only a few moments where I felt like it was dragging for me, and I just felt like it kept moving. So overall, I feel like it's like in like at least a B, like as an overall like movie franchise.
We'll get to the scores in a second, but like, do you feel like it's the best one of the four we've seen?
Oh, the best of the,
you know, how do you kind of have it? Because how I look at them, just for my sake, ignoring this one for a second, it goes Annihilation, 2021, 95, right? And I personally would slot this in probably, it's going to sound low, but between 2021 and Annihilation. But like, there's a big gap between Annihilation and this one.
Oh,
you know, like there's room to have. It's one of these lists where like there are 10 slots, there are 4 movies. Annihilation's number 10 already. There's plenty of room, you know what I mean, to have. But up below it. But
if it was 10 slots for me, it'd be like Mortal Kombat 2021. I guess is based off what we have so far. It'd be like 2. 95 is 1, just because like the nostalgia and the goofiness with it. And then this would be like, I don't know, like 5 or 4 for me, just because of, I think it's solid enough. There's really not too many things wrong with it, really. And if we're basing off the video game movie curve that we have, we don't have an algorithm for it, but it's in our head to some degree, in our hearts. It's definitely like in the above average section. Okay. So I have to put it at like a 4 or 5 with that. But
let's talk about our video game movie grading curve. So right here, this is our drafted movies for this season of the Sonic Movie Show. These are the movies that we are going to be reviewing, in addition to any new movies that come out, like a Sonic Movie 3, although I feel like that comes out once we're done. Like, I think we'll have seen all these first, but you know, Mario, that stuff.
Gran Turismo, probably.
Yep. So yes, as you can see, we have a 7-point scale, so to speak. S, A, B, C, D, E, and F. These are the movies that we've had. We watched Tomb Raider 2018. We gave that an A. Resident Evil Degeneration and Tekken Blood Vengeance we've given C's for different reasons. Now, let's talk about kind of generally what these mean. We've seen all these movies before. We have Mortal Kombat 2021 was given an A in the past.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 1995 was given a B, and Annihilation has been given an E.
We really should have gave 95, I think, higher. If we keep talking about how much we like it, maybe we should bump it up to an A. But I think it's like we're also taking into the fact, like, is it a good, well-made movie? Because it's not. You know, I think we put that into perspective. We can love it, and the movie be bad.
Yeah. Because generally speaking... S are like, as far as video game movies go, nothing really else I could want more of. This is probably as perfect as they could get. These are solid ass movies. These are good.
Well made usually.
Well made is really the thing. Like, these are high quality. B is like A, but the well made stuff might not be there. It might be lacking some things, but like, it's just really pretty good. You know what I mean? We like it a lot. C is, as a lot of our movies are on the C. There's more C's than anything else. Maybe D gets close. These are movies that there's good stuff there. It might be missing something. And as far as video game movies go, it's good. You know, these are good movies. As regular movies go, a good chunk of these would be like, okay. Then we get down into D, and these movies have problems. Most of the time, they're just boring. Like, that's their problem is that they're boring.
Like, they could have The Rock in it, but
like
it's
Doom.
boring.
Doom was
like
a
Doom.
D. You know, I mean, the
Yeah.
Hitman movie, Assassin's Creed is our poster boy for a D, because what the fuck was that movie even trying to do? It
Free
looked
will, remember?
nice,
It's about free will or something like that.
and then losing it, and E movies are bad, or just straight bad, and F is the special tier of this is objectively problematic.
This probably shouldn't have been made in any facet.
Yeah.
Like, might be like something that neo-Nazis watch.
Yeah, or allegedly even made by them. Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
Okay, so that's where we've been standing so far. Let's talk about
what's the Super Mario Brothers again? Because I feel like that's another good example of
Super Mario
what
Brothers
is considered
was
a bad movie is A. The movies
Yeah.
we loved it that much that we bumped it up to an A. Where like, yeah, it's not a well-made movie generally speaking, and like there's a lot of bad.
There's
shit
just
in it,
lots
but
of sets and physical special effects that like you can appreciate.
it's
in that
90s
movie.
as hell, and like, how do you not like it?
Yeah,
Is my question.
Yeah, and then like we have just big budget modern-ish movies of Rampage, Mortal Kombat 2021, and Uncharted in there. Sonic the Hedgehog, obviously the original, the 2020 movie, and Street Fighter, which I feel like is our typical poster boy of A rank movies of like.
Street Fighter is another one of those where like I can see why someone would be like, nah, dude, that's a D. And I'll be like, but
it's not.
It just has so much cheese in it that it tastes good. It's like a cheese pizza, you know? It's good.
Very, very campy. This movie, as generous as I can be, is probably a B. I feel like C might be where I'd put it, but I feel like if I'm being generous and, you know, like I said, ignoring the fact that the movie sets up stuff for probably future movies in ways where it doesn't telegraph it, like the katana stuff, and it just assumes you know who Raiden is, and just assumes you know Liu Kang. Like, I imagine the second movie is more of a Liu Kang and Shao Kahn, you know, fight match thing. So therefore, you'll get backstory of Liu Kang in that one, but he's in this one, and you know we don't really see that much. If I were to be generous and kind of hand wave some of that, I would say B is where I would put it.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like going in, I was like, for me, it's either a high B or a lower A. But it's like I think it's because I love Mortal Kombat so much. So that's one thing I'm taking away from it is being like how much I love Mortal Kombat. Because like I said, I think a lot of this relies on not a lot of it, but a good chunk of it relies on prior knowledge. But at the same time, there were some things that they actually, I think, explained better than like some of the other movies we've seen. Like I feel like sometimes it's confusing of like, especially in 2021, I feel like there were some moments of confusion with that. So like it goes a little bit. There's some things I feel like they did better than other movies, but then some things I think they lacked. But yeah, I just go back to like, for me, it's like I really like the animation style to the point where I'm like, I would love to see a game in this style where you keep the brutalities and the fatalities like they are, but you do it in that art style. Like it make it kind of comic booky to a degree. And just, I think it'll make it a little bit more tasteful too to the people maybe who don't.
I just feel like they never will do that because the games sell really well. And they don't want to lose that. Now, if they were to make a spin-off that's this style, or a spin-off that's the digitized photograph stuff, that'd be cool. Yeah. But I don't think there would ever be. It would require them to have a big fall from grace again and need a reboot in order to have a mainline game look like that.
I just think of like the Street Fighters and the Tekkens and how they have their kind of like distinct art style, and I feel like this here they could like pull from to some degree. But just talking about the movie. I wish there was more about Scorpion, hence the title, but I'm not upset because of the things I liked from Mortal Kombat. But I like that it's short. This is how a direct to DVD for us, what we would call it.
I love that that's like still what a lot of people refer to as direct to DVD or direct to video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like people younger than us be like, I never had DVDs unless we had no money. We never had DVDs. Direct to streaming is really it. But yeah, no, this is a solid movie in that format. I don't really feel like if this was a big theater release, then maybe I would hold it up to a higher standard. But it being direct to streaming, I imagine it was an HBO Max day and date at the time. We had to watch it on non-HBO, non-Warner owned property streaming things, which is wild to me. But that's HBO Max's issue. But I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just feel like this is, if we're grading on the scales that we've been grading anything else, that, like, I think it's just a B, just because, of all the other things we've said for the other movies. And especially the fact that we put it as third of all the Mortal Kombat movies, and all the two other ones are A's. So, or the 95's a B, and then 2021's
an
a B as well, or A or whatever. So, yeah, I feel like this, is just a solid animated film that. And we've watched some other animated. We have a lot on this list, I know.
Most of these are animated, which
and
is crazy.
We've watched some rough ones. I feel like this just feels like kind of like just a solid, just clean film. Like, there's really nothing wrong with, like you said, you could have beef with the story and whatnot, but at the end of the day, like, it's still a well-made thing.
Yep. I think we are in agreement on it is B. Therefore, you earn 4 base points for this.
Okay.
So here's how our scoring system goes.
My second pick got better than my first, so
yeah,
I needed that.
Here's how our scoring system goes. As you can see off to the side, if you're watching on the YouTube version, an S rank gives you 6 points, A is 5, B 4, C 3, D 2, E 1, F is a big fat 0. We have a counter pick system. When we finally get to the Angry Birds movie is the first one that has a counter pick. We'll talk about it then.
Yeah.
But essentially, I'm betting that movie sucks, and I get points if it's bad. And Devin has a bet on my last pick there that it's bad, and he gets points if it sucks. But ignoring that, that's how the points come out. And you can see here, so far, because I have an A rank and a C rank, I have a base 8 points. However, I have a 0.99 because the not Metacritic, the Rotten Tomatoes user score, audience score, gets factored in as a decimal as a tiebreaker, and my 2 movies have netted to a 0.99. Almost
it's crazy how that
point.
Added up. Like, you just round up,
Yeah. Well, we're not rounding
Someone
up.
should have rounded. I know,
maybe
but
at the very end. But that's meant to be a tiebreaker.
That'd be funny if, that's how you lose or win is by 0.01.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
And you, Devin, have 3.57 because Resident Evil Degeneration was a C and it had an audience score of 57%. So you have gained 4 points. But what's the audience score for Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge?
I have it here. Can you guess what the audience score is?
I'm guessing it's in the 80s, an 82.
85.
Wow. Okay.
So I got, in a way, like, this is helpful because I got a big chunk from that 85. So I'm hoping that gets almost like a +1 bonus.
Hey Siri, what's 57 plus 85? 142. You actually gain a full point for that. Whoops.
Yeah, so it's like I had, my first pick was a B, maybe. So
it's 5.
Remember, like, we saw that Tomb Raider and Resident Evil had similar Rotten Tomatoes scores.
I got completely wrong. 8.42. Okay. Wow. And your audience score is in total higher than mine. Because mine didn't give me a full point.
Sorry, my dog he's really excited that I got all those points. I don't know if you can hear that. Yes. No, yeah, I'm glad that I got a high. Let's say the one prior knowledge I had with this was the audience score being I knew it was a little bit higher because, like I said, I heard good things about it. So I'm like, that was one of the reasons I picked it as high as it did. Because I'm like, even if we were like, with it, I'm going to get some bonus points with it.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. So yeah, right now, it's almost, if we didn't do the audience scores, I would be winning by a point. Technically still am, but I'm at 8.99 and Devin is at 8.42. The next movie on our list is, actually, let's talk the movies. If you're an audio listener, here are the 12 movies that we're doing in total. I'll run you from the beginning down to the end. 2018's Tomb Raider, Resident Evil Degeneration, Tekken Blood Vengeance, Mortal Kombat Legends, Scorpion's Revenge, Kingsglaive, Final Fantasy 15 is our next one, followed by Ratchet & Clank, then Persona 3 the movie, number 2, Midsummer Night's Dream, then Dead Space Downfall, Ni no Kuni, Angry Birds, One Chambara or Oni Chambara, I don't know how you pronounce it, the movie Vortex, and then Corpse Party as our 12th movie. So yeah, with this, we are effectively 1/3 of the way through our batch of movies here. So far, it's anyone's game, anyone's film, anyone's video game movie. I think we generally are under the assumption that these are getting worse as we go on. That's why they're picked. It's really like this.
We have to get the points now, is what I think, because like it's gonna come down to like just who's the least worse. I think at the end.
Yeah.
But maybe like Ni no Kuni might be like really charming and good.
That's
maybe
my hope.
Dead Space Downfall, I'm hoping, is like just maybe like kind of like a cool science fiction horror thing.
Yeah.
And Corpse Party maybe is a fun horror, I don't know if it's even about I'm assuming corpses is like zombies or something.
All I know about it is I've seen pictures of Japanese girl in high school. And
sick. I mean,
I think this morning or last night I saw Wario64 tweet out that a Corpse Party game on 360 was discounted on the Microsoft Xbox store. So there you go.
We'll see.
But yeah, next up is Kingslave Final Fantasy 15. So if you want to watch that, make sure you see it by the time we do that episode. It's not going to be next episode.
There was a deal of that too. I saw recently as well.
And I got it. I own that movie already. Never seen it. But you know what? I don't have a 4K version, so I'll pick it up. But yeah, that was our review of Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge. Let us know what you thought by tweeting or commenting on any of the various platforms we're on. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and of course Twitter at Sonic Movie Show up there. If you want to talk to either of us specifically on Twitter, I'm on Twitter at Ethan Absolutely, and Devin is on Twitter at CursonaFun. Yep, he's pointing at you because you are talking to him. Let us know what you think. There are 2 more of these movies. I mean, they're not on the immediate horizon, but maybe we'll get to them one day. I think so far I like the draft that we're doing. I think this is fun. So I'm under the assumption that we'll want to do it again. So maybe the next one will be on the list because there's not a lot. There are a few franchises.
For the next draft.
Okay.
I have an idea for the next draft where we pick less, but then we have like a bot or like Google pick 3 random ones and seeing if
and
like
assign them to us.
Or like it has its own team. We have a third team that's just a robot.
Okay, so then maybe what we do is because
or we have David. We have David, our friend David, just
by the way
3 movies.
Speaking about David, last episode I gave a call to action. I said send us your fan fiction. I asked David the other day if we can have him just parse through any of them to make sure they're not like racist or anything, so that we can read them blind and not have horrible things said, just in case. But yeah, because for the 12 movies here, there was 18 that we picked from. And like half of them I think were ones that I selectively picked out as these are important ones we should get to soonish, because obviously there's a chance that we couldn't get some of them if we picked, all of them were picked for this. And then I randomly selected ones, but I made sure no duplicate franchises and whatnot. But like, there's a lot of Resident Evil movies. There's a good amount of Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat stuff. We're getting through them. So wanted to make sure that we at least don't skip the next Mortal Kombat thing, or the next Persona or whatnot in the next thing. But that might be a good way of having the important ones go to them. Maybe it's you and I versus the machine for next one, because all the ones that are probably good go to there, and then we have to pick. We'll play it by ear. I think there's a lot of
ideas you can take it, but yeah, no, this is fun. I'm glad.
I think you and I have both been on the record saying that video game movie reviews are our favorite episodes to do on the show, which kind of sucks to really think about. Maybe we need to up our game elsewhere, but I enjoy doing these, especially the ones I haven't seen. So next,
there's been just a lot of just great moments of just like that probably majority of people have never seen, and like from the from our fake actor AI made lady to
right, in Final Fantasy Spirits Within,
to
right,
somehow seeing a bunch of Michelle Rodriguez films.
Right, so she's been in a lot of these. Good for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is essentially, instead of doing the Chronicles of Diesel, but for her, it's essentially just that's what we've already
knocked out. I feel like a good chunk. Yeah.
Yeah. Technically, you could also argue that the D&D movie is kind of like a video game movie because there's a lot of D&D video games. No, we're not reviewing that.
But I will see it at some point.
I'm gonna see it. I'm probably gonna see it with David.
I mean, Chris Pine's in it. Come on.
Yeah, and Michelle Rodriguez. That's why I said it. But yeah, next episode, unless anything crazy happens, is going to be our review on the HBO show The Last of Us, as the final episode airs about the time that this video posts. So we will be caught up and we will be reviewing it next week. So yeah, please watch it all if you plan on, not getting spoiled by our review. Excuse me. But yeah, and then after that, who knows? Maybe we'll watch another video game movie. We'll see. We'll like to keep you guys posted the episode beforehand so that you can prepare. So we'll see you next time. Have a fantastic day.
Bye.